Good afternoon, my friends. This is the Grim Flayer. Hope you're all doing very well today, and it is time for something a little different, something a little unfair, if you will. This is Ad Nauseam in Modern, and I claim no expertise with the deck. This is the on-channel debut. I used to play the deck a few years ago, but number one, the meta has changed radically since then. Number two, the deck itself has changed significantly since then. And number three, I was not a serious competitive player yet when I was dabbling in the deck. I was just kind of like learning Modern and dabbling in a wide variety of decks in order to do exactly that. And Ad Nauseam was one of them. I did actually own it in paper once upon a time, but I am revisiting it here because it is showing up again in the meta. It's very well positioned against Burn and Prowess. Those are the decks we want to face probably more than anything else. There are a lot of bad matchups out there too, but, you know, we have the tools to compete with Jund. A deck like Shadow shouldn't be that much in the meta anymore, which is a little bit tougher. And the blue-based control decks are looking a little bit different these days. We can arguably be better off against some of the Bant piles than we would be against classic traditional control decks from the pre-2019-2020 era, right? So, anyway, I'm no expert with Ad Nauseam. I'm not going to give you too much of a deck tech here because of that. I will not go deep into the tech on something I'm not qualified to do so. But for those who don't know, just the very bare bones of how the deck wins, Ad Nauseam is the namesake card, and it allows you to draw your entire library without dying on the spot in conjunction with either Phyrexian Unlife or Angel's Grace. Once you've done so, you can exile Simian Guides and cast a Lightning Storm and hold priority and discard a bunch of lands to one-shot the opponent. Or you can cast a Thassa's Oracle, and Thassa's Oracle's ETB trigger will win you the game because the library will be empty. So even if they kill her in response, X will equal 0, but 0 is the number of cards in your deck, so you still win. That is kind of how the deck has always worked, although in the past, before Oracle was printed, Laboratory Maniac was in the slot, and Lab Man was much worse, because he cost one more, and you had to actually cast a Serum Visions or some other way to draw a card after the fact. It's a little bit different now. Oracle is a much better win condition in that regard, and also in regard to the other combo in the deck. So that's the 2-card combo, Ad Nauseam plus either Unlife or Grace, but there's also a 3-card combo involving Thassa's Oracle, which is not just a win con for the main combo after you've drawn your deck, but also a win con for the other combo, where you, again, lead with a white card or have a white card's effect active, Unlife or Grace, followed by Spoils of the Vault, which is a card that used to see play in the old Ad Nauseam decks, but not as a 4 of, and it can be a tutor effect, and often it will be, but it's also a win condition in the new look deck because you lead on Grace or Unlife, you then spoils away your entire deck by naming a card that's not in there, and then you cast Thassa's Oracle, you win the game. So this can kill on T3, often on T3, technically on turn 2 if you spend turn 1 exiling a Simian Guide to get out of Pentad Prism, but that's a bit of a risky play. Ad Nauseam itself, with the help of Simian Guide and Prism, Ad Nauseam plus Grace can go off turn 3, but it's usually more like a turn 4 2-card combo or a turn 3 3-card combo. Obviously, the opponents will be disrupting and all of that, but those are the combos that are in the deck, and we also have Mana Rocks, Lotus Bloom, and Pentad Prism to help us make the one-shot bursts of mana that we need to win. Phyrexian Unlife especially is a fine value play on its own to keep you alive, buy you some turns. And then we have cantrips to sculpt the deck, looking for our combos. Pact of Negation as just a one-of main deck to protect the combo, but we've got a couple more on the side. Other ways to protect ourselves and our pieces and our hand and all the rest. Veil of Summer. Yes, we all hate the card. I think it should be banned, but while it's here, we should probably play it in Ad Nauseam. Even though it's the only green spell in the deck, it technically makes us a 5-color deck. Hey, you know, we've got Rainbow Lands, we've got Mana Rocks, we can do it. Thoughtseize to break up opposing combos and big mana, stuff like that. Finally, we have Slaughter Pact, Bantu's Last Reckoning, and Path to Exile just as kind of different ways to deal with the board, along with a 1 of Echoing Truth. Sphinx of the Final Word is an alternative win condition against control that also helps us resolve our combos through their permission. And 4 copies of Leyline of Sanctity is a very, very big deal in this deck. So this list is one that won the challenge a little while ago. I think it was the challenge. The only thing I changed is I took out a Slaughter Pact and played 1 Bantu's Last Reckoning in its place. And that's because a lot of the other lists that I'm seeing play no Slaughter Pact and like 2 Bantu's Reckoning, whereas the challenge list was on the opposite, 2 Pact and no Reckoning. So I said, well, I'm not exactly sure if I know when I'm supposed to bring in Slaughter Pact. Like, it's a really weird card, but I'll just split the difference. I'll just play 1 of each, and I think that's fine. A fine hedge, a fine way to start. So let's have some fun. Let's get some good matchups. Let's get some good progressions, and let's indulge ourselves in a change of pace here from the grind. So yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy this one. I hope you'll stay with me for it. And I'd like to say thank you, as always, to all Patreon supporters, especially our newest one, Stephen Tabor, or Tabor, perhaps, but I would say Tabor, if I had to guess. And my guesses are always right. As you know, with pronunciations, I've literally never got a supporter's name wrong, not once. But Stephen Tabor, very generous tireless tier supporter, so thank you very much, my friend. I do appreciate you, and I appreciate all Patreon supporters as always, but I do not appreciate this opening hand. It's pretty terrible. 5 lands and a Simian Guide. Spoils is a fine one, but that's about as far as it goes. We have to send it back. And we're against a Lurrus deck, so mulling if it's a BGX Lurrus deck might be very painful, but this is a much better 6. We will keep. And we will bottom 1 of the lands. Should probably be one of the rainbow lands. I'm thinking of bottoming City of Brass because we could be against Burn. And Gemstone Mine, we will play at turn 3 at the earliest, and we have 2 Mana Rocks. So hopefully losing counters off of it won't be that big a deal. Burn it is. Or maybe Jund leading on a mountain, but probably Burn, right? Okay, so opponent has knowledge of our Lotus Bloom. All right. When it rains, it pours. We've got all the Mana Rocks we could ever need. So we do definitely hope it's Burn and not Jund that led on a mountain. Opponent did nothing turn 1. That's so interesting, but now they've got Swifty into Bauble. Yeah, I'm very surprised they didn't have any play there. No bolt or anything to fire off. This could be Prowess too. Just now it is hard to tell. And maybe they had that bolt in the tank, but they're just getting the Prowess value. I don't know. I don't know. A little bit stuffed up, guys. You'll have to excuse that. My apologies for any sniffling or mouth noises or anything like that. You know, people have said, you're making these mouth noises, and they're right. They're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm guilty. I gotta use my mute function more liberally on this microphone here. Let me do that right now. Alright, opponent kicking off turn 3 with a Monomorphos. Prowess confirmed. Okay, well, a little unlife is going to go a long way here, but they've got a really rapid start, considering they didn't have a turn 1 play. It's looking like they're putting together, they had a really good turn 2, looking like a good turn 3. Abbot of Carol Keep. Interesting one. Revealing Lava Dart. Do they have the 3rd land? I hope not. They do. They do. Hate to see it. Oof. The triple bauble progression out of Prowess is really something. It's really something. Okay. Little scary, guys. Little scary here. Especially having lost the die roll. Thankfully, we do have this on life. But we're not seeing the combo pieces we need to see. If the opponent is going to put together enough damage to put us down below the threshold, I might Angel's Grace this turn. Just because we don't lack for mana, we don't lack for the white half of the combo, we just want to buy as much time as possible to draw Ad Nauseam. Or Spoils of the Vault. But Spoils would be risky. We'd need Spoils and Oracle for the clean kill. If we just draw Spoils, we're trying to tutor for Ad Nauseam, most likely. So Ad Nauseam, just our best draw. And if Angel's Grace can buy us one extra turn by using it this turn, that's probably what we're supposed to do. I would assume, right? But maybe the opponent's just kind of flooded. I could go Lurrus into Bauble, flashback a Lava Dart. Then any other burn spell is going to put us into negative life total territory. OP tanking over there. Okay. Actions being taken. It's the cat. And it's the Bauble. A Lurrus deck in Modern right now. Can you imagine? Well, first time for everything, am I right? They concede. I guess we have Ad Nauseam on top. Haha, we do. Sweet. Hey, appreciate you, opponent. Appreciate you just conceding and not having us play it out. All right, so we can expect some Abrade and similar spells out of them post-side, maybe. But our plan is pretty clear with Ley Lines of Sanctity being very good, but not as good as they are against Burn. You know, definitely not a panacea, but one that we'll use. I probably want some combination of removal here. Path, Slaughter Pact, and Bantus all have their downsides, but we probably want some or all of these cards, right? I think I'm going to lose the Pact of Negation here. Their spells are just too low to the ground and redundant. Again, I'm no expert with the deck, so take all this with a grain of salt. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do here. And it may or may not be optimal, but we don't have all that many things that I want to cut. If we begin from the perspective of trying to bring all of these cards in, we're probably cutting all 4 Serum Visions. Sleight of Hand a little better if you're trying to race. And then do we have 2 other reasonable cuts to make? I mean, we could cut like a Lotus Bloom and a Pentad Prism, hedge away from that, but like, it feels a little counterintuitive because we are trying to race them. I don't know. Oh, we only need to make 1 cut if we do this? Interesting. Yeah, why don't we cut a Lotus Bloom play like this? I think it's fine to be a little more reactive on the draw anyway, right? We've got like all of our removal, all of our defensive cards in on the draw, and then if they beat us and if we see things we didn't expect or whatever, maybe we recalibrate for game 3. But I think this is probably about where we want to be, don't you? Feel free to share your thoughts, my friends. Especially if you're an ad nause veteran. I could use the help. I could use the help. Ooh, it's a Leyline 1-lander. Leyline's great, 1-land's not, but you know, I might actually keep it. Because it's got a lot of things to like. We're on the draw, and our 1-land is a Temple of Deceit. So we've got a lot of looks at more lands. Honestly, I think this is a justifiable keep. Especially because if we hit the second land, we have a Pentad Prism. And yes, they could have removal for that, but, like, the pieces are here. I think it's a keep. And Leyline's going to definitely buy us a lot of time. As I say, not a Panacea. They can just play a lot of threats and burn themselves and still win relatively rapidly through it. But we make them have... We still buy time that way, and we make them have a specifically... threat dense. Oh my god, Soul Guide Lantern. We don't use the graveyard at all. But okay. I don't know if I'm missing something with that. Maybe it's just a main deck card that they left in because it cantrips? I couldn't tell you. Another Pentad Prism. That is a very interesting one. I would prefer to see a land, but a Prism, while worse than a land, is possibly better than a lot of other things. I think I'm going to top this, but I am definitely on the fence about it. The worst thing about our hand is it has 2 Simian Spirit Guides. If one of these was a land, I would feel great. Or if it had been a Lotus Bloom, obviously, that'd be pretty sick too. Yeah, opponent just cashing in the Lantern, then passing. We'll take it, right? I guess they got a handful of burn spells. Maybe they have an Abrade. I hope they don't. Lurrus of the Dream Den. Wow, okay. Another Pentad Prism. Yeah, I'm just going to keep developing the mana here and really hope they don't play something off-meta like a Shattering Spree. You can see why, like, the Prisms are good, but we really would love to have made a 3rd land drop. Okay, opponent connects and then goes light up the stage, finding stuff that's not the most relevant. Land and a Lava Spike. Leyline of Sanctity, most likely doing an absolute ton of work here. And they're forced to exile their own graveyard here, which admittedly doesn't matter when they're not on Bedlam Reveler, I guess. But still kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know what the lanterns do for them right now. I should turn off auto yields. Just in case they did have like a Shattering Spree or something, we would consider exiling Simian Guide and casting a value ad nauseam in response. Okay, opponent finding a bauble off the Lantern is good, you know. Good loop value with Lurrus, of course, but... We're putting together the turn 5 kill if they don't disrupt our mana. They are white, so they could, in theory, have like an enchantment removal for Phyrexian Unlife, but I see that as relatively unlikely. For one thing, they might already have used it on this Leyline of Sanctity. Still no 3rd land is very annoying. But, you know, again, if they don't have certain things, we just are going to win next turn, so... Going to bauble themselves, informing their decision about Sunbait Canyon or Fiery Islet being cracked versus maybe just dumping the hand out. They will crack, so they like what they see. But they're not going to do anything before damage, it seems. Lava Dart, yeah. Into light up the stage. Okay, we can live with this, my friends. We can live with all this. Angel's Grace. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We just have the kill. Just figuring out the easiest way to do it. It's probably like this. The short key, the default hotkey for saying yes to that dialog box you see on your left there is 3, so I'm just holding down 3 instead of clicking yes repeatedly, and kindly the opponent scoops doesn't make us play it out. So that's exactly what we're here for, guys. We beat a red deck very handily 2-0. The inherent power of Phyrexian Unlife as a main deck combo piece that also just happens to hose a burn or prowess plan pretty hard is exactly why Ad Nauseam is well positioned. You add ley lines in the sideboard on top of that, and also the fact that just like generically you're a turn 3, turn 4 combo deck that their disruption, their like burn spell removal doesn't line up against, and you've got a good recipe for a very favorable matchup. We'll take it. We'll definitely take it. Let's play 4 more of those. I would love nothing more. That was really fun. It's a fun change of pace to do something radically different from the usual BGX stuff, right? Hope you guys agree. This is a fine opener. A very, very valid keep. And we are against a Yorion deck. Okay, well, Yorion Urza maybe, or who knows. Anything and everything just plays Astrolabe these days, right? So, if you have a turn 1 cantrip, it, I guess, should usually be Sleight of Hand, because you get 2 looks at a Lotus Bloom, as opposed to just 1. We don't see the Bloom, but we see Ad Nauseam. Let's put that in our hand. So we've got the turn 5 combo kill rolled up right now, assuming we can resolve our spells. Draw another Ad Nauseam. Alright, so we're going to lead on... So if we lead on Temple, it makes our Serum Visions better, but we could also lead on Serum Visions in case we draw another cantrip off of it blindly. I think we're supposed to lead on Temple most of the time. Pretty happy to bottom a Simian Guide there. So we are rewarded for that. And Lotus Bloom, yeah, that's... Turn 2 Bloom isn't too late. And we get to bottom 2 lands that we really didn't want here. So, all in all, our sequencing has been extremely rewarded. Think of how much worse it would be to have led on Serum Visions there. And, yeah, it could have gone the other way, but we are rewarded. OP with an Omen of the Sea. Yeah, I mean, if they're... I don't know what to expect out of them. Looks like they're basically a control deck. They probably play Quattle and all this other stupid crap, frankly. Really sick of these blue decks, personally. But that's just me. That's just me. I don't know what to expect in the way of permission. I am just going to jam here. Jam the Unlife, hope they don't have anything. Looks like they do. Remand. Well, there you go. So it is Jeskai Yorion. Might even be like 4-color Yorion because Astrolabe can do anything. Oh, Teferi is so good against us. Oh, I hate Teferi. I hate Teferi so much. He's gonna wreak havoc with our Lotus Bloom. There's not really anything we can do about that. Just gonna play the Unlife. He's gonna get to bounce it. Just like such a stupid card. I'm trying not to tilt right away in this matchup, but these Astrolabe decks are kind of gruesome no matter what you're on in a lot of ways. If you ask me. And didn't you hear me, Matchmaker? I said I wanted to play against Prowess again. We draw another Lotus Bloom. Oh, you couldn't make it up. You couldn't make it up. Well, they're representing lots of permission, obviously. So one thing to do is to just jam Unlife again, make them have something. If they don't have anything, then they don't have anything again next turn, we can win. That's very unlikely, though, so I think we're probably supposed to pass. Try to go for a value ad nauseam. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, turn off auto yields. Damn. I forgot. I remembered, but just slightly too late about Teferi. I was going to say we go for the value ad naus on the end step, and we then, when they counter it, we untap and try to overload. Obviously, stupid Teferi does not permit such interesting gameplay. He reduces our game here to Hearthstone, so I should have just jammed something main phase, probably Unlife. This technically is not strictly worse because it gives us a chance to find a Pact of Negation or some other stuff, but we're just kind of like hurling things main phase and hoping something sticks now, which is not a great place to be against a control deck, obviously. A third ad nauseam. I think I'm going to bottom Prism and just keep ad nauseams on top. And we, once again, are just going to main phase things and hope it works. That's all we can do. Well, it resolves. The opponent could just be really flooded. Mystic Sanctuary for Remand. I really have like such little desire to play this game right now that I was gonna say I'm kind of talking myself into taking a high risk line for spoilsing for Pact, but you can't even use Pact of Negation with Teferi on the field. I'm not used to playing on the stack so much against Teferi. So these things are kind of obvious, but not as much to me. Oof. I really miss the old days of blue decks, man. Just dread facing blue no matter what I'm doing now. It's just not pleasant. Like, even if we win, it's just not that pleasant, you know? So we know they have a Remand. So one option is just to cast the ad nauseam into the Remand, and then try to untap and do it again, and hope they don't have permission. Another option is to spoils for Thassa's Oracle, and then if Thassa's Oracle is in the top X amount of cards where we don't lose to it, you know, they don't really beat us with a Remand because we've got 6 mana to play with. So let's say they Remand a spoils. Well, Then we have to cast 3 total spoils, and we still have 1 mana left over for Thassa's Oracle. Yeah, you guys, I don't know. I'm thinking about just going for it now. So we spoils for Oracle, then we spoils away our deck, then we play Thassa's Oracle. That's the win condition here. Again, or we can just keep trying to cast Ad Nauseams 1 per turn. If they didn't have Teferi, we would have a million interesting options. We would have been end-stepping Ad Nauseas for value. It would have been an actual, an actual Magic game as we know it. But now we're kind of reduced to this. Man. Kind of a tough call. Not kind of, really tough call. As always, I could be missing something too, but I'm just laying it out as I see it. I'm kind of inclined to just go for the kill right now. Let's do it. Spoils naming Thassa's Oracle. Ooh, you know what? This Plains doesn't really let us go off. Shoot. Yeah, if the opponent is canny, they let spoils resolve and then they remand the Thassa. Oh, I hate Teferi! I hate Teferi! Oh, this Plains, man, is cramping our style. So now I guess we go for the Ad Nauseam and force the remand. Just giving them all kinds of time to do everything they need to do. But I guess there was no real way around that, considering that we had Plains to work with there. Opponent shocking in is bad news, because they've got a full grip. Yeah, there's the Unlife going back to the hand. There's Felidar Guardian. Oh my god, what a deck. What a deck. Saheeli, jeez Louise. Well, I don't think we had any other way there. Besides maybe just that one turn, like starting a turn earlier, just like blindly casting things main phase. But, I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do against stuff like that? Well, we got Thoughtseize, Veil of Summer, Pact of Negation. Sphinx of the Final Word against a control deck is what it's there for, but it is admittedly a little bit sketchier when they have a combo of their own. So I don't know if we want that. Phyrexian Unlife's pretty bad against Teferi, but like all Pact of Negations, pretty bad against Teferi too, right? I think we're cutting... Let's try cutting all Lotus Blooms. I won't always do this, but like... If we cut all Lotus Blooms, we can have a really good setup here, including Sphinx, by just like trimming a couple slights. Still keep all of our Pentad Prisms. I think this is fine. Don't know that it's optimal, but I think it's fine. All right. What can we do? What can we do against this deck? Seems like a really bad matchup to me. But we have some tools. Sounds okay. The mana's very awkward. The fact that our blue source ETB is tapped and the fact that we have a Plains. We saw how bad the Plains was last game. Well, I think we had the kill. We had the win, definitely, unless they had Force of Negation. With the Plains was anything else. Anyway, I'll still keep it. I'll put that third land on top, that's for sure. The City of Brass. And I'm actually going to play it here turn 2. I think the life total is a very free resource this this game, and we want just the best mana possible as early as possible for multiple Serum Visions, for casting a Veil of Summer if we draw that, etc., etc. Spoils of the Vault. Cool. So one option here is to just jam on life, of course, but and under a lot of circumstances that'd be the play. But because we already have Grace and Spoils, I kind of want to use Serum Visions this turn to dig. Let's get to digging. This doesn't play around Spell Pierce, but I want to play a better land than Plains if I can. And look at that, we find Thassa's Oracle. That's what we're after. That's why we did things the way we did things. So I guess we bottom Temple of Deceit, because even if they deal with Pentad Prism somehow, Temple of Deceit doesn't help us combo off T4 because it ETB's tapped. So we'll bottom that. We'll definitely top the combo piece. Then we'll play Serum Visions. Pact of Negation to protect it? Sure. So, I mean, at this point, I think I'm going to top both. Right? No, I still think we bottom Temple because we want to top deck. Yeah, let's bottom Temple. We're going to top this, though. Alright, no Teferi. They have Teferi probably, despite their 80 card deck. Having him on curve both games would be about right. Yep, sure enough. Unbelievable. Such stupidity. Oh, I'm tilted, I'm tilted. Well. Is it better to deploy the Unlife or to redeploy the Prism? I think it's better to deploy the Unlife, because if they have a way to stop our combo next turn, like, we don't want to just use our Angel's Grace to for no reason, basically. Like, we start off the combo, we have to with Angel's Grace if we don't have Unlife down, and then they can maybe win the counter war, and then we've just lost the Angel's Grace for no purpose. Opponent really considered their options there. Might be representing Force of Negation. I don't know. I mean, Pact of Negation, again, doesn't really do anything against Teferi here. Oh, boy. Like, this card, this guy. I'm getting pretty tempted to just go for it again. But there's no way they don't have permission, right? But there's no way it gets better for us if we let the game go on. We're just in a total catch-22. Again, maybe I'm missing something, but that is the way I'm reading this, and one spicy thing is that if they're banking on a remand, like they let us Spoils and then they remand our Thassa's Oracle, we can use Simian Guide and Pentad Prism perhaps to some good. For some good. Whatever, I'm just going to go for it. I do not want to let this game go any longer if we can help it. Force of Negation. Okay. If only I could interact on the stack like everyone else wants to. What did they exile here? Mystical Dispute? Okay, we're just in deep trouble, guys. I don't think we're ever beating this Teferi. You know what? I'm going to play the Simian Spirit Guide to pressure the Teferi. I have no idea how optimal this is relative to other options, but I really don't think we can beat the Teferi. So here comes the Grey Ogre. We'll see if it does anything good. Mystic Sanctuary buying back Force of Negation. Yep. These blue decks are a disaster to face. While we're losing here, let's admire the cool printings you can have with Ad Nauseam. I've got one of the Secret Layer printings of Serum Visions. I think they're all pretty cool takes, and this is my favorite one. You're using Planar Chaos Simian Spirit Guide here. We've got some really cool old bordered Rainbow lands, Weatherlight Gemstone Mine, City of Brass Hills originally from Arabian Nights. Opponents playing Seasoned Pyromancer in their deck, like, nothing matters. Nothing matters anymore. Oh my god, Okay, what do we need here? We need to draw another Spoils. Hey, we drew another Spoils. Alright, let's go for it again. That was a lucky, lucky draw. Hope they don't have more permission, right? That's all we got. The luck of the draw. Another Force of Negation. Dude, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Okay. Again, if only our permission mattered. Guess Pentad Prism. And we're just going to now try to draw third Spoils or Ad Nauseam. Like, we still have outs if they don't have permission. OP Shocking in for another Spyro. Wow. The value plan is indeed real. Simian Guide gets to chomp on one of these tokens, though. It's a moral victory for the good guys, right? Dark Slick Shore is not what we needed to see. It's not the worst, though, because when Teferi inevitably bounces our Pentad Prism, we'll still have 5 mana, and we can hope to top deck an Ad Nauseam. But yeah, we're just single-handedly losing to the Teferi. They get to keep buying back Forces of Negation at their whim. Oh, they punt back the Unlife. Interesting. Yeah, whatever. Thoughtseize. Sure. Clear the way for our Unlife. Okay, Force of Negation, but they have another Mystic Sanctuary in hand. Oh, how exciting, how exciting. It's too bad we don't have the combo in hand, isn't it? I think now's an okay time to attack Teferi. Elementals will probably double block. Simian Spirit Guide, we hardly knew ye. A valiant effort. But the Grey Ogre does not line up well against the Seasoned Pyromancers. Talk about power creep, right, with the creatures? Thassa's Oracle is hardcastable too, but we're not that desperate yet, although maybe we should be. Yep. I hate to be a downer about, I hate to be a downer in game. But the blue decks really are they're to me very emblematic of current design. Like, there used to be a time when blue decks, much like BGX decks, were more about resource denial or really, like, having the right interaction at the right time. But now, like, your interaction comes on an unbeatable hate piece in many cases, like Teferi. You've got blue and red cards that we're seeing right here that are just pure resource generation. Seasoned Pyromancer, Yorion Sky Nomad. Even stuff like Felidar Guardian that's a little more recent, with at least in combo with Saheeli. All this stuff is just like, the new interaction is nowhere, and the new value is everywhere. And we are just not going to get here. So, we'll see you later. We got absolutely destroyed there, and I truly hope that was the last blue deck we faced, because I'm kind of over those. Excuse me. And there's certainly bad matchups for Ad Nauseam. If it's a non-Teferi blue deck, then it's an interesting game, because like I said in Game 1, we could have been, like, end-stepping a value Ad Naus. The opponent maybe decides what to do. We're eventually able to overload them, or we're able to at least try. We're able to at least compete, but Teferi comes down and it's just kind of all over if you can't pressure him off the field in a lot of ways. And the common wisdom, conventional wisdom, is that Teferi is the big control mirror breaker. If you resolve the Teferi, you basically win the control mirror. People don't really say that about Ad Nauseam, but it seems basically that way to me too. The only problem is we don't have a similar I win button on our side, so yeah, that was a feel-bad moment, my friends. Not a good one for the debut, but we had a good round one. Let's hope for some repeats of round one here. It's not that Ad Nauseam can only beat Burn. It's that we really don't want to play against that type of deck. Let's see what round 3 has in store for us. We lose the die roll again. Our opening hand is kind of questionable, but between the Temple and the Serums, I actually think we're supposed to keep it. We get a lot of looks at lands. And we have the combo all rolled up. We have Spoils and Grace and Thassa's Oracle. We have Ad Nauseam for long game combo redundancy. The opponent's mauling deep. Yeah. Opponent is on a Gigantha deck. Ancient Ziggurat. Okay, if this is humans, kind of a bad matchup, actually. Kitesail Freebooter and Meddling Mage are both very good. I don't think we want multiples of anything, really, in case of Meddling Mage, but we do want multiples maybe in case of Kitesail Freebooter, but Freebooter can just take Angel's Grace if they have one, so let's bottom Spoils, we'll top the third land. Well, we're very lucky that a humans player mulled this deep, because it'll get better post-side for us, and hopefully we can just steal game 1. If we can steal game 1, I'm pretty cool with the prospect of potentially stealing game 2, or 3, one of them. If we lose game 1, it's going to be a real uphill battle to win both post-side games. Indeed, opponent does have Meddling Mage. They name Path to Exile. Oh, they don't know what they're up against, do they? That's good for us. That's very good for us. So, the play here is Temple. Pentad Prism, huh? I guess we want that. Into Serum Visions. I'm going to bottom another Prism, and once again I'm going to bottom another Spoils of the Vault. So we've got the turn 4 kill rolled up. We're going to go T3 Prism. T4 combo off. The opponent has not showed us that they're likely to meaningfully disrupt us with Meddling Mage, so we gotta fade Thalia and Freebooter. Looks like we are, because they just play Hierarch Go, so they have some 3-drops in hand, you know, maybe Mantis Rider for the clock, but... Okay, Lotus Bloom a bad draw, but... Shouldn't matter. We've got everything we need to win. Alright, opponent, just play a Mantis Rider, attack us, and then pass. That's what we need, that's what we want. They hit the land drop. Phantasmal Image. Okay. Definitely for Meddling Mage, naming... Ad Nauseam. Okay, so they know what they're up against, but... I don't want to say they named the wrong card. But I think they did kind of name the wrong card, but no, that's not necessarily true, because if we have the 4th land in hand... We're still representing the kill with Grace into Adnaz, so that's a totally fair name from the opponent, but it's not one that's going to get them there. So we go Grace, we spoils our library away, and then we play Thassa's Oracle. Pretty cool stuff. Abandon Reason. Okay, T4, got him. Like I said, kind of a tough matchup, but that was really nice to sneak in there with the Game 1 win. Slaughter Pact, Path to Exile, Bantus all coming in. And then you could see Echoing Truth being interesting as well. We're going to cut Pact to Negation. I don't think we want Thoughtseize. Try not to let my BGX experiences color this, because the context is very different. Thoughtseize is like the worst card in your Rock or Jund deck against this deck. It's more interesting here, for sure, but we're probably still not supposed to play it. We definitely are playing these 3, and... What do we like the least? I think we're supposed to hedge away from cards so we don't get multiples locked out by Meddling Mage. So I'm going to try to hedge... I'm going to trim like 1 Lotus Bloom. Let's play this Echoing Truth and let's not play Thoughtseize. I think that's going to be reasonable. Then again, most of our other 4-ofs are just good. We'll cut 1 Serum Visions. You know what? I'm going to play 1 Thoughtseize. I'm going to cut another Visions, and we're going to cut... This is tough. A Spoils, maybe? I don't know. I don't know. So never mind the idea about being hedged. Right? Yeah, I think this is roughly correct. But as always, guys, you can let me know. Love to hear it. All right. Our opener is kind of medium. I think it's a keep, but it's not a very good keep. Like it's... Let's rephrase that. I think it's keepable, but it's not much more than keepable. Opponent with no turn 1 play, though. That's great. That's great news for us, and we've drawn a piece of removal. Cool. Sleight of hand. Sleight of hand. What do we want to do with that? I think we're going to bottom it because we just might not have room along our curve to cast it. Like, it's a very good early card, but I'd rather just, like, draw land. Opponent with a turn 2 Ether Vial and still no play. Wow. We're catching some lucky breaks here, and we also draw a sleight of hand, just like the one we bottomed. Interesting spots. I'm kind of inclined to cast it over Prism, just because I don't want to be too aggressive with my Gemstone Mine counters. But it's not mana efficient. I'm going to cast the Prism, but you could really go either way here. It's worth noting that we might at some point just use this as a really bad lightning bolt. This lightning storm here. Oh my goodness, opponent with another Ether Vial. Wow. Chalice on 0. Humans playing Chalice, I was not aware of this. But okay. We don't care about that. It shuts off our 3 Lotus Blooms and I guess our 1 Slaughter Pact we care a little more about, but... Alright, let's hit some land drops. That's the one thing we haven't had going for us. Sleight of hand. Looking for some land. We don't hit it. So I'm going to take this Echoing Truth. And then it's actually super interesting to just Echoing Truth back both Ether Vials and really tempo them out. But I think it's arguably more important... Huh. Ooh. It's really important for us to just play Sleight of Hand and hit another land, and we don't have to use a Pentad Prism counter that way. So I'm going to leave the spicy play on the table, but that was very tempting. You gotta hit it, gotta show us a land here, though. Gotta show us a land here. We don't hit one. Unbelievable. I guess I'm going to take the Simian Spirit Guide, because we're desperate for mana sources. We already have an Unlife, but... Yeah, so, I mean, we're lucky that they're not really doing anything because we are experiencing a ridiculous fail rate, considering how many cards we've seen and the nature of the hand that we kept. Chalice on 1. Alright. Opponent playing a prison deck over there. Let's just draw a land, please. No, we can't. We can't manage it. You know what we can do is use up our Pentad Prism counters and then bounce it back to our own hand and then replay it. It's going to be extremely slow, but that could be a line that's on the table at some point. Man, I don't know what to do here. This is so rough. This is so rough, guys. I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to make red. Cast Unlife using 1 Prism counter and keeping our Prism around, keeping our Gemstone Mine around, and get an Unlife down. But both decks looking rather embarrassing right now. This is pretty crazy. And I'm glad we didn't Truth away the Vials, because the opponent, even though we let the Vial go to 2, and even though they made a 3rd land drop, still isn't playing any creatures. And we definitely might need the Truth at this point to beat that Chalice on 1. Unsettled Mariner. Okay. I guess at some point we... Oh my god, opponent just dumping out the hand. This doesn't make sense, does it? Like, why... Oh, Phantasmal Image. So it does. It does make sense. Alright, I think we're just going to try to hope to draw Bantu's Last Reckoning or lands and combo off. I don't think, like, using our mana here to try to Bounce the Chalices and Path the Mantis Rider. I don't think that's a winning line. So, Temple of Enlightenment is a fine start. Pentad Prism, huh? Well, that's pretty slow. So if we put that on top, then next turn we play Prism. I mean, this makes them kind of have removal for our on-life, doesn't it? Okay, I'll put this on top. As long as this, I'm reading Split Second on Angel's Grace, as long as this is on the stack, players can't cast spells or activate abilities that aren't mana abilities. So I've never had this come up, but I suppose that still gets countered by Chalice on 1, just for the record. Alright, we're just taking the hits, hoping they don't have anything we care about. And then we get to kill them next turn with Ad Nauseam if all goes well. One, two, three, four, five, six. I think is it true that every trigger of the Lightning Storm kill would be taxed by Mariner? That's what I'm assuming. Well, we've drawn Spoils of the Vaults. So do we just go for the Spoils kill into Thassa's Oracle? I guess so. It leaves us more mana to try to do something if something goes wrong, right? Oh my god, I'm an idiot. I forgot about Chalice of the Void. Well, that was terrible. That was terrible. Thankfully, we still have Ad Nauseam, but my bad, guys. I was just blinded by the draw. We should still be able to do it, despite my misplay there. We should have one more mana to work with than we do. But what we'll do is use 2 Simian Guides to make a Prism for 1, and then play a Rainbow Land and use those 2 things to cast Thassa's Oracle, because we haven't made our land drop this turn. All right, unless their last card is like a Nimble Obstructionist, we got them. Okay, so my bad about playing into the Chalice there, but as you can see, it didn't change anything. We had the kill lined up. I just said, well, this isn't basically an easier kill to execute and gives us more mana to play with, but not if it gets stopped by Chalice. So with a complicated board state, it's easy to miss. At least it was easy for me to miss there. Anyway, we take down a tough matchup, getting kind of lucky to do so, not gonna lie. Opponent progressions really didn't punish us in the way that human progressions often will, but we'll take it, and I'll be right back. We'll see you for the 4th round, I believe, is what's coming up, although I've already kind of lost track. Be right back. Have returned, my friends, and we are going 2-0, then 0-2, then 2-0. I wonder how typical that is for Ad Nauseam. Those lopsided match results are not usually what I see on BGX, but that's what we're dealing with today, and hey, I'll take it. We're looking for a change of pace, and so far we have one. Yeah, hoping for some favorable matchups to close out the final 40% of this league. We've had 2 pretty unfavorable ones, and we've won one of them, and then we had a favorable one that we took home nice and clean. So let's hope to run into like some slowish big mana decks or some more red deck wins archetypes. What else is Ad Nauseam like really good against? I'm not exactly sure. Well, whoever our opponent was meant to be here is not showing up to the fight. Very sad, very sad. Hope you guys are enjoying this. As I said, as I've disclaimed already, I claim no expertise with the deck, but hopefully we're playing okay, and it's cool to get in a different mind frame, right? Like, just like total 180 mindset from BGX, and still very skill testing in a lot of ways, but here we are the proactive ones. We are the ones trying to find the spot. We are the ones asking the question of the opponent. It's not a seat that I'm used to occupying, but I like the deck. I think it's really cool. It's always been one of my favorite combo decks. I just think the way it all comes together is very elegant. And we've got a really solid opener. I'll definitely keep this one. Losing too many die rolls for our own good, I think Ad Nauseam is definitely a deck that really wants to win the die roll. Yeah, I could be overstating that, but first impressions. Okay, opponent on a Stomping Ground deck after mulling to 6. Sleight of Hand. Seeing 2 lands. Which one would we rather have? I'll take the Temple because it looks like the other shores will probably be entering tapped anyway. Turn 1 Lotus Bloom always feels pretty good. Ooh, are we against Jund? We sure are. Yeah, I think this is kind of a bad matchup, but not as bad as like Shadow or like some of the blue decks that we might see. Hey, the draw of Pentad Prism is great. Gives us something to do here that actually is pretty darn impactful. They can certainly answer it, right? And having Bob on curve is really scary. But we're kind of spreading their removal a little bit thin, hopefully. But, of course, Bob on the play, on curve against combo is exactly where you want to be on Jund. And they flip a trophy immediately, so taking care of our board. You hate to see it. Oh my goodness, a Kolaghan's Command too? Yikes. Okay, picture Temple. Lose our Mana Rock, yep. Opponent really looking like they're about to Jund us out here. Yeah, Temple of Deceit. Thassa's Oracle, huh? I think we're going to bottom that. We just have to, like, not give them credit for having discard, and if they do, they're probably taking something besides Oracle anyway. Hey, you know, if they don't have discard, and even if they have Destruction for Lotus Bloom in the upkeep, we can combo off right then and there. So we gotta fade discard. Okay, Tarmogoyf. Don't care. They're holding up trophy, I suppose. Sure enough. Okay, so in response, we will combo off. So I guess technically the best play here is to go down to one card and then move to our draw step followed by our main phase, although we can just kill them with Lightning Storm here, but it's going to be easier to execute the other one. Probably do it that way, right? Client's starting to get a little laggy here, guys. Sorry about that. There's our Pentad Prism. Opponent making us do it all, which is well within their rights. Where, oh, where is our little fishy? Here she is. Here she is. Alright, we T4'd Jund through a Kolaghan's Command and a trophy. It's pretty great. Power of Ad Nauseam, and it's going to get better post-side. Again, the matchup is still, I think, not great, but certainly Veil of Summer and Leyline of Sanctity are amazing tools. You could play a Path Exile. Could maybe play like a Thoughtseize or a Bantus or something, but it's unlikely to me that we want to leverage those. I think I'm going to cut this Pact and probably just hedge away from like a little bit of the mana stuff and the Sleights of Hand. I think this is a pretty good setup. Again, you know, you could play a Thoughtseize or two. Is it really better than other things we're doing? I don't know. I think we're supposed to like stay as proactive as possible while playing the really hard hate cards. So that's what I'll do. But as always, I'd love to hear your feedback if you're a vet Ad Naus player. No question about it. Let me hear the sideboarding plans of dreams. Let me hear the master plan. Well, we got a Leyline hand. It is only a one-lander, but the one land casts Serum Visions. So I think I'm going to keep it. Obviously, it comes with some risks. I'd be much happier if it was a fast land than just a plain island, but I do think I'm keeping. Leyline's very good, mulling is very bad. And the hand is functional, and the hand has a lot to like. We just need to really sculpt our hand. We need the top of our deck to comply. Simian Spirit Guide off the top is not very good. So, Serum Visions, gonna dig 3 deep. Okay, we get another land, but it's a Plains, and we have double Serum on top. Ooh. Alright, I'm gonna bottom one, top one. I'm happy we hit the second land. Not happy that it's another basic, though. They do play a lot of, you know, if they start trophying us, we only have 3 total basics. That could suck. Croxa. Croxa. It's an annoying one. I'm going to pitch either the second Spoils or the Simian Guide, and I'm not sure which. I think I'm actually going to pitch the Spoils, you know, just in case mana's really tight. We can maybe combo off with 4 mana, a 4 mana plus Simian Guide ad nauseam. I think pitching 1 Spoils while we're hiding behind Leyline is pretty fine, but I think pitching Simian Guide was the other relevant option there. Pentad Prism, another Simian Guide. Other Simian going straight to the bottom. The other Pentad Prism is tough because it's mana, but it's not a land drop and it's vulnerable to a lot of their spells. Nevertheless, it's not as good as a land, but better than most other draws, I think, right now. And if they don't have any interaction, you know, we can get like a turn 5 kill. Obviously, it's pretty unlikely that Jund has no interaction, right? But Maelstrom Pulse the Leyline, yikes. Alright, we're in some trouble now, boys and girls. We're in some real trouble now. No Veil of Summer to bail us out here. No longer chilling behind the Leyline of the Void, or rather, Leyline of Sanctity. At their mercy. Really at their mercy. Collective Brutality. Okay, well, at least they can not take the Unlife. They're either going to take Spoils or Ad Naus. Spoils, sure. Really just looking for an untapped land here. Trophy on the upkeep. So we could value Ad Naus in response. Exiling Simian Guide. Playing Ad Nauseam, drawing a bunch, and then getting a basic land if we don't hit our basic land off of the value Ad Naus. If we just let it resolve, we're not really doing anything. I think we're supposed to value Ad Naus. Interesting spot, my friends. Very interesting. Okay, don't show me the basic land. Show me all the other good stuff. We're getting a bunch of free lands, basically. This is pretty sweet. We got a lot to like about our hand already. I'm going to look at one more card. Lightning Storm. Alright, we might as well stop there so we don't hit our basic, and so we don't bother having to discard to hand size. Okay, so we just got a full grip. It's pretty great. And yes, we will get our final basic land out of the deck. Like I mentioned, it kind of sucks that our opening lands were basics, because it might have restricted what we could do. Ooh, Veil of Summer. I forgot we were going to draw for turn. Certainly bottoming a Seachrome Coast there. I guess we ditch another coast here as well. Yeah, man. Well, we got some good stuff. We got a lot to like. But like I said, the basics early on were a little bit rough. They might have restricted the spells that we could play, but perhaps more importantly, now any trophy is a Stone Rain if they want it to be, or just we don't get the benefit of it. If they have a trophy for our Unlife, for instance. Pillage. Yep, okay. The land destruction plan is real. Pillage makes sense, you know, we play artifacts too. Lotus Bloom. Strangely, a turn 5 Lotus Bloom is actually kind of okay with me here. Temple of Enlightenment, Simian Guide going to the bottom. Unlife hitting the field. Opponent's going to escape a Kroxa soon if they want to. This is an intense game. Hey, wouldn't you know it? BGX making gameplay cool. Don't you love to see it? I think I'm going to pitch Lightning Storm to this Kroxa. Just... don't really need the alternate win condition, hopefully. I mean, there are some ways in which we'll come to regret this, I'm sure. But the rest of our hand's so good, I think we're supposed to pitch it. If we just draw Black Source, we win, by the way. But that pillage was definitely brutal in that regard. Okay. You know, maybe I should have kept that Lotus Bloom to pitch to Kroxa. That might have been bad. But at this point, I like Veil of Summer's uncastable. That's a fine pitch too, right? Alright. So that pillage keeping the opponent in the game. Please don't have discard. They have discard. Oof! Alright, so there goes probably Spoils. Maybe Oracle, definitely not Angel's Grace. Spoils, yep. Dark Confidant, yep. Yep. Spellbomb. More Graveyard Tech in against us, but that's probably just a cantrip. Leyline of Sanctity. Do we even care about that? So brutal to not have a black land to have just won by now. This is the majority of lands in our deck we've seen, because remember we bottomed a Seachrome Coast and pitched another one. We've seen like almost all the lands in our deck that don't produce black. I think we just need to keep the Leyline around to pitch to Kroxa. Obviously, if Bob flips like Thoughtseize or whatever, that's pretty bad. But we're hoping that we top deck the kill, and we'll be able to cast it with Lotus Bloom. And we can have Angel's Grace as a backup if they, like, remove our Unlife in response. Okay, opponent digging for more action, and then they have the floor this turn if they don't find anything better of going Lurrus into Bauble. I think this matchup is better for us with Jund on Lurrus than it would be otherwise, just because Liliana of the Veil is so good. Like, if you think of how Jund looked before the companion meta, having adopted Kroxa but also retaining Liliana, this is the exact matchup where all of that overload of discard becomes really relevant. Opponent looks like they have a Trophy or Decay or something for Unlife, which doesn't really change much, because we have Angel's Grace. Still just win if we draw Spoils or Ad Nauseam. So if they have the green-black removal, maybe they're saving it for Lotus Bloom on the upkeep. Just going Lurrus mode. You got it. All right, come on. Let's draw the black half of the combo. One time. One time, baby. Gotta resolve a lot of triggers before we do. The suspense. The suspend card generating a lot of suspense. How fitting. All right, what are we going to draw? Serum Visions. Okay, opponent going to bobble us. I'm going to cast a Serum Visions. Double Unlife. And we drew Oracle. We're drawing only redundant stuff. Bruh. Bruh. Alright, well, we just have to hope they have absolutely nothing here. Pretty rough. We can cast Angel's Grace here to buy us ourselves yet another turn. I don't know how correct that is, because then we're just, like, dead if they find removal for Unlife. They reveal Verdant Catacombs. Like, if we try to combo off, they have removal in response. Whatever. I think we're supposed to cast this, but we could get punished for it. You could really go either way. I picture one of our oracles. We've got another. We've still got the kill. We've still got the kill if we draw a black combo card, of which there are 8. And again, if they don't have anything. Oh my god, Thoughtseize, sure. Sure. Okay, just gotta draw Ad Nauseam specifically now. Do they have... They have Pillage too. Okay. There's nothing they don't have. There is nothing they don't have. But we have a Bloom coming off Suspend, and if we draw Ad Nauseam, we still win. Ad Naus one time. Ad Naus one time. Pentad Prism. Oh, the pain. The pain, my friends. The pain is so real. That gives us redundancy, though, so if they have yet another piece of artifact destruction... Ooh, oh, Kroxa, yeah. Oh, Kroxa beats Unlife. Yep. Well, nothing we could have done about that anyway. My goodness, that was oppressive. That was oppressive. That's what getting Junded out feels like when you're on a combo deck, eh? Well, I think we were pretty unlucky there, frankly. You know, we had a few windows where it was wide open to combo off, and we just didn't have a black land because we only drew one and they pillaged it. So good pillage play from the opponent, and bad luck for us. I don't think I'm going to do anything different, but I'm, you know, looking things over, considering here. I think we're pretty good, though. I think we kind of want to be like this. It's another Leyline one-lander, but this one is on the play, so it's riskier, and it doesn't have Serum Visions. And it's just kind of a bad hand overall. And once again, the basic island. I think we have to mull this one, sadly. Feels so terrible to mulligan against Jund. They'll keep 7. We'll keep this. I mean, it's a pretty good one, but it doesn't have Leyline, and it kind of incentivizes us to time walk ourselves to sit behind the Veil of Summer, but that's got to be so worth it. Got to be so worth it, right? Okay, we have unmulliganed ourselves because 1-mana Cryptic Command's pretty good. Thassa's Oracle, Phyrexian Unlife. So we're finding some stuff here. Finding some things, finding some stuff. Okay, Pentad Prism, Temple of Deceit. I kind of just want to go turbo combo mode and bottom both. I think that's going to be correct here. Alright, it's real scary to be in this position against Jund. Cindervines. Oh no! That's so good! Looping Cindervines against us. There's so much hate. There's so much hate in this world for our ad nauseam archetype. Ah, that's insane. That's insanity. Well, I think we just have to jam on life anyway. Maybe they'll take the risk and they'll slow down a little bit. Or they won't slow down a little bit. They'll, like, not give us credit for being able to combo off. I don't know. I don't know, man. Tarmogoyf. So they get to do something proactive and hold up Cindervines. You hate to see it. You really do. You really do. If we had Angel's Grace, we'd just win right now, but we don't, so we won't. Man, Cindervines is so oppressive with Lurrus. An opponent respecting our ability to combo off at instant speed is not cracking Cindervines, thankfully. Croxa, huh? Yeah, that sucks. As always, that just kind of sucks. We gotta put our faith in the namesake card here, so we're gonna keep Ad Nauseam. I guess we kind of need to keep the 5th land too for that reason. So do we pitch Spoils or Oracle? I'm gonna pitch Oracle. Draw another Spoils. It might be correct to do a Desperation end step Spoils for Angel's Grace. The Thoughtseize. No! No! Now what do we do? Now what do we do? This is ridiculous. Okay. What if we try to get lucky and Spoils for our other Veil of Summer? Or we could stick with the plan and Spoils for an Angel's Grace. No, because... I mean, do we value Ad Nauseam in response? Or do we just let it resolve and see what they do? Oh, dude. I think I'm going to value Ad Nauseam in response, which is going to prompt them to destroy the Unlife. If they don't destroy the Unlife, we just win. But we're taking pain from the City of Brass, pain from the Cindervines. And the Tarmogoyf is very big. Oh, we rip Leyline of Sanctity. We might have to just stop there. Really, we hit a... Oof. Oof. Oh, wait a minute. We just combo off right here because the opponent let it. I didn't even like strike me that the opponent would let this resolve. Oh, but yeah, I mean, they're still going to have the Cinder Vines here. Whatever, we're just, I mean, having hit the ley line on our second card, the value ad nauseam play is dead. So let's just Lightning Storm them. Clicking lots of things. We got a lot of triggers on the stack. That's exciting, but I don't really know what opponent's tanking over here. This opponent just like very carefully scanning all of the things that we just revealed. Yeah. If only we left in our one of Pact of Negation. I don't think it's correct to, though. But I think opponent letting this resolve was pretty risky for that reason. We just kind of had to make them see it. If only we had... Oh, sorry, the Pact of Negation doesn't beat the resolved Cinder Vines anyway. And we don't have enough lands to pitch in response, so... Too bad. Too bad, so sad. That was a tough one. I mean, you mull against Jund, and they curve out oppressively. In this matchup, I feel pretty rough. Feel pretty hard done by. I mean, it's winnable, but you kind of need a lot of things to go your way. Game 2 was really the one where we dropped it. Like, Game 2, we had the window, didn't have the black mana. I hope I didn't miss anything there at the end. It is, as mentioned, my debut league here with Adnaz. So, yeah, I'm trying to think, you know, I was just kind of pitching lands there until I knew I had enough. I don't think we had enough to split the lands there, but that didn't really occur to me. Like, to do enough to kill them, and then in response to the Cinder Vines, do enough to kill them again. I don't think we had enough, though. I think their life total was still 17 or something. Anyway, that was a bit of a tough loss, but we did lose. We've got a triple gemstone mine hand. Oh, that's so ugly. It's so ugly. I'm going to keep it, though. I don't know what else to do. Like, we've got the combo in hand. We've got turn 1 Sleight of Hand, which is a card you really want to see in your opener. The hand functions, it's just like... And it does have the turn 4 2-card combo. As long as our gemstone mines don't run out before then. Lightning Storm, Spoils of the Vault. 2 pretty bad hits in the context of our hand. I'll take the spoils here for sure, though. Would have been happy to see Pentad, Prism, Lotus Bloom, a non-gemstone mine land. Would be somewhat happy to see, you know, more cantrips. I think I'm going to lead on the other mine and play a sleight of hand here. Spread out the love a little bit. Lotus Bloom, huh? I'll take that over Spoils, you know, a turn 5 Bloom is better than a redundant Spoils in the context of our hand, I think. We're against a Talaria West deck. Okay, looks like Titan. Should be a pretty good matchup for us. They got the turn 2 Explorer into Cavern. Into Amulet of Vigor. Oh boy. That's scary. I guess they probably found that off their Explorer. We find another Lotus Bloom. Late to the party, guys. A little late. A little late, you have to say. Alright, if we draw an untapped land, we can kill them with Lightning Storm this upcoming turn, but we have missed the land for a few turns straight now. And it's going to be really dicey because they have Castle Garenbrig if we don't hit it. Instead, we hit another Ad Nauseam. Bruh. I don't feel our deck is firing on all cylinders at all. Feel like we've really got some unusually bad variants in some unusual ways. Like, we've seen kind of the spectrum of bad variants, I think. Maybe the deck is less consistent than I'm giving it credit for, and maybe I'm just complaining a little unduly there. I'm not certain. Alright, so let's see if they have the Titan. Of course, when do they ever not have the Titan, right? Like, I know that's a cliche, but whew, it's so true. It's so true. Well, we'll see what they can do with it here. We do have that beautiful Lotus Bloom coming off Suspend. And we do have a Phyrexian Unlife on the field, so these are good things. Primeval Titan taking his time figuring out what lands to get here. Or maybe my client was just lagging, actually. I take that back. Looks like my client was lagging there. So I suppose they have bounced their Talaria West. This will be them tutoring up another Titan by way of Summoner's Pact. And then we will kill them with Ad Nauseam. Feels pretty good. Oh, they do? I was going to say, unless they have a 1 of Pact of Negation, and they sure do. That is bad, my friends. That's bad. Okay. Man, we're getting hit by the Pact of Negation, huh? And we've got the third ad nauseam. Are you serious? Are you serious? Okay. So do we have to spoils for our own pact here? I think we kind of do because, like, we're just losing all of our mana. It's not like we can try an ad nauseam this turn, trade it with the pact, and then try another one next turn like we were operating on Lotus Bloom and some very low gemstone mines. So I think we actually have to spoils for our one of Pact of Negation. And if they pact the spoils, then hopefully we won't die and they don't have another pact and we can kill them with ad naus next turn and we haven't wasted our mana. Alright. Again, maybe I'm missing something. That's always the disclaimer here with my first time out with ad naus, but... And they might kind of have to pact this, because we could just have a Thassa's Oracle in hand and they'd lose. Actually, yeah, they've definitely got to pack this. Yep, okay. So now we just kill him with ad nauseam. Alright, cool. Comboing off again. So the spoils serving as something of a decoy there. Again, the opponent was not incorrect to counter it. Definitely kind of have to. Here, fishy, fishy, fishy. Here, fishy, fishy, where are you? There you are. All right. Whoa, 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 whoa. Laggy client getting to me here. All right. The turn 5 kill, good enough against Primeval Titan. This is the type of matchup that is good. It's probably going to get better for them post-side, though, you know, bringing in their Reclamation Sage, Beast Within style effects. So to combat that, we probably want Thought Seizes and Pacts of Negation probably, you know, it's not the greatest necessarily to compete over stuff like that, and then when their big payoff comes in the form of Titan, sometimes they'll have Cavernous Souls, as you just saw there. So I don't know how foolproof Pact is. I could see playing with only 2. And again, I'm just kind of spitballing here in general. But I think I want something like that. And in terms of what to cut, I'm probably going to trim around the edges here. Why don't we try playing with 2 Pact? I think that sounds about right to me. So we'll do that and 2 more cuts. We'll hedge with 1 Serum Visions, 1 Sleight of Hand. I value Visions a little higher, I think, but because we're leaving in all 4 Lotus Blooms, I'm going to leave in at least 2 Sleight of Hand. Very corner case decision, but I hope my thinking at least makes sense in some world, some universe, even if it's not necessarily optimal. But I think we're pretty much on the right track, but a no-land 7 cannot be kept. Obvious mulligan. This one looks fine. We keep, and we will have a tough choice as what to bottom. This would be just a great 7. I think I just bottom Sleight of Hand. We'll keep the combo in hand, we'll keep the mana. Temple of Deceit can do some card selection for us. Again, that would be a great 7. Opponent keeping 7 on the play with Amulet, though. Not really what we hoped for now, is it? I'm going to bottom the redundant ad naus. We're just going to try to maybe draw something like a Pact of Negation here. I don't know. I don't know what we need. Opponent on a double Amulet start, though. Oof. Oof. It's like getting punched in the gut when you see that. And then they tank, which is not a good sign because they could maybe have like turn 2 potential here. Mm-hmm. Keeping the 7 with the bounce land and the double Amulet. Into Dryad. Oh, into Dryad. So what comes next? Is that the end of it, or do they have like a Zeusa too? They bounce the bounce land. They have a second Dryad. Wow. I mean, if after all this they have a Titan too, this is literally the nuttiest nut draw. I think I've been on the receiving end of Titan arguably ever. You've got to be kidding me, dude. They have the Titan turn 2. Could we catch a bit of a break here? Could we catch any kind of a break here on the debut? You got to take it easy on us on the debut. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. I don't know what we can do here. We're probably just supposed to scoop to this. I mean, yeah, what's in our deck? I don't think anything. I'm just not going to make him do it. Okay. You turn 2'd us with the big mana deck. Sometimes I still don't know, like, what Modern is. Like, what is Modern? What is Modern? Oh, man. See, that's why I think Ad Nauseam is a more reasonable combo deck. It doesn't have genuine turn 2 potential. And it's disruptible. Like, it doesn't just go over the top of mid-range decks. Maybe that just means it's worse than Primeval Titan, don't get me wrong. But it has other strengths too, right? I just have a pretty defined view of good and evil in the format. You can feel free to ignore my ministrations on this. I'm deciding here on the play if we want to change anything up. Yeah, Echoing Truth as a tempo play is something. Probably don't want it. I'm itching to play maybe a third pact on the back of that, but I don't think we should be playing around their turn 2 Titan progressions. I think I'm gonna just run it back, and we'll see. We'll see if we can cash the league here. I feel pretty favored on the play here, not gonna lie, but okay. This hand is unspectacular, but keepable. I'll bottom that Simian guide. We are looking, my friends, for a Angel's Grace so we can play defensively with Pact, or a piece of the combo so we can combo off before they kill us. Serum Visions, eh? Alright, let's see the maximum amount of cards, I suppose, by leading on Temple, and then following with Serum, and there's a Spoils of the Vault. So we've got the turn 4 kill lined up. We go turn 3 on life, turn 4 Spoils into Oracle, protected by Pact of Negation. This has got to be good enough to keep on the top. And then we see backup Oracle, backup Spoils. I don't think we want either of those. I think if we want a redundant piece, it should be a white piece in case they have removal for Unlife. So feels a little weird, but we're going to bottom both of those, and I think it's correct. Please don't have another utter nut draw. My spirit cannot handle it. Okay, it's only Castle Garenbrig. Into probably Explorer, yep. And they might still have a bounce land. Okay, just a forest, sure. Ooh, Thoughtseize, huh? Oh, this is so interesting. Thoughtseize slows us by a turn. And could also get blown out by Veil of Summer, although I don't expect that should be in against us. But it does clear the way. Like, if we just jam Unlife, and then they have Nature's Claim right here, that would be a disaster. Even if they have just like a Rex Sage or a Beast Within, that'd be pretty freaking bad, too. This is quite the interesting spot, my friends. Quite the interesting spot, indeed. There's got to be a lot of merit, though, to just jamming the Unlife and making them have it. If only we had Angel's Grace, we could do a lot more things. I think I'm Thoughtseizing. It's good if they have... It's kind of good no matter what. It just might not be optimal. Alright, so they have Dryad, but no way to destroy an Unlife. And we'll take the Titan. Play a tap land. Bottom that. They can get something maybe with Talaria West, but right now they're starting with no blue lands on the field. We can also just draw an Angel's Grace and win very comfortably. Which is what I hope we do. This is what I hope we do, right? Garenbrig Breeding Pool. Their hand is Talaria West, Celestia's Sanctuary. We didn't do it. Alright, well, play the Unlife, fade the bad stuff for one turn. Win? Question mark, please? Hey, if we just played the Unlife and made him have it, we'd have the win right now. But you can't know that. I think Thoughtseizing there is reasonable. Okay, they get a Rex Sage here, most likely. They get Primeval Titan? Oh, well, I mean, sure. That's the more proactive thing to do. They have bounced Talaria West. Yep. We just, like, can't use this Pact of Negation because we don't have the Angel's Grace. So we've got to sit through all the Titan stuff. As always, we'll see what they do, but I've lost track of how many lands they've actually played this turn with Dryad. Is the play here to pump with Sunhome to do exactly 18 this turn and put us on a 2-turn clock? Because that would make sense. Keeping us in suspense here, OP. There's also the Dryad Valakut angle to consider. And I don't know if that changes the math here. They bounce Forest. Do they already have a Talaria West in hand? I've lost track. It's the very end of the league. I mean, it doesn't matter what they have. We're going to do our thing. They either have something or they don't. All right. Abandon reason, all ye who enter here. There it is. All right, well, much ado about nothing at the end there, but of course opponents not to know that we had the combo. But yeah, if they had tutored for a Rec Sage, we would have been in trouble, and we would have also been punished for playing a little bit scared by Thought Seizing. So that's the type of like instinct play that I think I reasoned out correctly. Like, I think I reasoned correctly, but I didn't have a good feel for it. You know, I didn't have a good feel for whether it was better on average to go ham, you know, just go put out my Unlife turn 3, make them have something, T4 combo kill, or whether it's better to, you know, Thought Seize and go for the turn 5 kill, having cleared the way with Thought Seize. I don't know, but I took a line that gave us an opportunity to get punished, but opponent also took a line that did not punish us. They did not give us enough credit for the combo, or if they did, they said, well, it's just as good to race them and make them have it as it is to, you know, spend the pact looking for a Rec Sage and then hope to top deck a Titan. So I get it, but it worked out well for us in the end, but that was a bit hairy. It was a bit hairy. So, I hope I didn't punt anything away, but it's very possible that I did. I have a lot of learning to do with this deck, but yeah, we came through we had a decent spread of modern matchups. I got really tilted seeing the blue pile, the Yorion pile. I'm over Companion. I'm over the blue snow-covered Astrolabe decks. I'm over all that stuff. It's just kind of like everything rolled into one that it's just like, ugh. This is why a lot of people's morale for modern, like, desire to play a lot of Modern is low right now, including myself. I still love the game, I still love the format, it's still my favorite format of my favorite game, but the only other time my morale on my desire to play a lot has been this low has been the Oko meta. Otherwise, This is a low point like I haven't seen before, just personally, you know? I'm not telling you how to feel, I'm not telling you how to think, your mileage may vary. And it's not sour grapes, because I have literally not gone negative with a Lurrus BGX deck yet. They're really powerful. I'm just, like, not interested, as interested in playing with them as I was in the pre-Ikoria meta, nor am I as interested in playing against the companion decks as I was, again, playing against the pre-Ikoria meta, but I just went on a tangent out of absolutely nowhere, so I'll put a stop to it there. But hey, there you go, guys, a positive result on the Ad Nauseam debut. Through some tough matchups, you know, this deck's very capable of 5-0ing, it's capable of winning challenges, but you want to see a lot of burn, a lot of red deck wins, and some big mana as well. You know, if the companion meta goes away and big mana comes back, but Burn and Prowess keep a high meta share to prey upon the big mana decks, I think Ad Nauseam will be even better positioned. But as it is, I think it's a fine meta call. I think it's reasonably well positioned, and, you know, you're going to run into some of the Lurrus decks that, to me, they're kind of inherently bad matchups, but maybe a little less bad with Lurrus than they would otherwise be. I mentioned this in Jund. Liliana, the Valen Jund, a lot harder to beat than Lurrus for me, if you ask me. As a Jund player, as a BGX player, but, you know, I'm new to Ad Nauseam, so maybe my take on that is incomplete. Anyway, my friends, let's leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this league. I hope my play was okay. I definitely, as I said, have some learning to do, have some, yeah, hopefully have some improvements to make, but hopefully I didn't leave anything on the table here. I think I might have, at the end of that Jund match, gone a little bit too quickly. I was just like, oh, we can't really beat the Cindervines, but maybe I didn't think about that one thoroughly enough. I don't know. I'll have to see. We'll have to look back. As always, guys, you will let me know. Hey, I never claimed to be much of a combo player, but we did well enough to get a positive result here to cash the league. And we're going to play some Ad Nauseam more on the channel in the future, if y'all want me to. So let me know whether you're for or against that idea. It will always remain secondary to BGX as far as I'm concerned, and I will always put the donation leagues as the #1 priority, because that's what my supporters have earned. So let me know what you think about all that, and let me know what you're thinking about Modern in general, as always. You know I love talking to you guys, so hit me up in the comments section, and yeah, let's leave it there. Thank you so much to the Patreon supporters, including Stephen Tabor, our newest patron, a tireless man, a tireless tier supporter. Love to see it. Appreciate you, buddy, and appreciate everybody else supporting this channel. For those who don't know, I am working through the pandemic. My wife is working through the pandemic at home. We've got isolation from family, we've got no childcare, no help whatsoever, we're under siege. So it's even harder than usual for me to carve out time for this, and frankly, the only reason I can justify doing that, and I do mean the only, specifically right now, is because of the generous financial support I'm getting from everybody. So from the bottom of my heart, my friends, thank you so much. And if you guys are enjoying the content, that's what you do. That's how you give back. If you've got a little, if you can spare a few extra bucks a month, you can get access to the Discord, and you can help give back to the channel. Link in the description below, and I hope to see everybody there. You can also patronize my sponsor, and you can also comment, leave a thumbs up, share this if you want. Maybe not this video. This is kind of like a noob version of the Grim Flayers in unfamiliar territory. But, you know, in general, growing the channel with a word of mouth, that helps me out a lot too. So I'll go ahead and leave it there. Thank you so much, my friends. I appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you for the next video. Stay safe out there. I hope you are as well as you can be under these circumstances, and I will talk to you soon.